So there's a Kentucky state representative. His name is Danny Bentley. And while they were discussing a women's right to choose in their state house, he was talking a little bit about this particular medication that's used in some of these procedures, and it's called RU-486 or mifepristone. And in discussing that, he pointed out that a Jewish person developed it, but he was a little off about the timing. Let's watch.
A few misconceptions have been spoken on this floor today, and I would like to give people more information so they can make a better decision. RU-486 was developed from the Germans during the war. It was a cyanide, and it was called Zyland B. In fact, the person who developed was a Jew, since we brought up the Hebrew family today.
So, by the way, he said they brought up the Hebrew family. I'm gonna give you a little bit of background on that. Another person that was arguing in favor of a woman's right to choose there, when he said brought up the Hebrew family, she mentioned that many Jewish folks may not believe that the same thing is what many people are proposing, that life begins at conception because of a belief system. So he said, since we're bringing up Jewish folks, then how about that there was somebody back in the Nazi era, this Jewish person developed it. So he said that. Not only did he say that, but he also had some more fun trivia facts for you guys that you might be surprised by. Watch this part.
Do you know that a Jewish woman has less cancer of the cervix than any other race in this country or this world? And why is that? Because the Jewish women only have one sex partner. That's the reason. They don't have multiple sex partners. So to say that the Jewish people approve of this drug now is wrong. Any good farmer in here knows that you don't cut down a cherry tree and feed it to your cattle. How come? It's full of cyanide. So that's the same thing this cyanide gas was used for, which killed millions of Jews during the Holocaust. That's where RU-486 started. Then the same company today at this very time has got chemistry and chemists trying to develop a more effective product like RU-486. Why would they do that?
Why would they do that? Why? Why would they do that? Why would this person, this Jewish person who developed this whole thing back in 1945, then be part of another company that's developing this whole thing for women now, just for some money making, maybe it's to kill more folks? Man, it's crazy how these Jewish folks really think. But there's a couple of facts there that he missed as he's clearing things up. Let's go to this from Senator Karen Berg. She wasn't there to actually refute his words, but she did say this later. She is a physician. So while the person who defended RU-486 was Jewish, she noted that this occurred in the 1980s, first of all. Quoting her, the first clinical trials on this drug has nothing to do with World War II and has nothing to do with the Holocaust, is what Berg said. That the developer was indeed of Jewish descent, what difference does that make? And why is that being brought up on the floor? Also, the American Jewish Committee, the Jewish Committee Relations Council of the Jewish Federation of Louisville, and the National Council of Jewish Women's Louisville section condemned Bentley's comments. There was like 7 groups that definitely point out his issues. This is what they wrote. On Wednesday, during a hearing on women's reproductive choice, Representative Danny Bentley went on a bizarre anti-Semitic rant that included outlandish claims about the sex lives of Jewish women and the outrageous assertion that Jews created, quote, the abortion pill during the Holocaust to profit financially, is what they said. We call on all elected officials and community partners to forcefully denounce anti-Semitism and all forms of bigotry, especially when they emanate from officials elected to serve the people of the Commonwealth, to which Mr. Bentley, he obliged and he apologized here really quickly. I meant absolutely no harm in my comments today and sincerely apologize for any that they caused. Last week, we received a heartbreakingly sad reminder that anti-Semitism still exists in our society. I wonder who you heard that from. And I apologize if my comments today caused similar pain or any doubt that I stand with the Jewish community against hatred. My intention was to speak as a pharmacist to the history of RU-486 and respond to a proposed amendment. I clearly should have been more sensitive with my comments. And to that I say also probably a little more accurate with your comments, you guys.
As I've said previously, as a person who is Jewish, stop saying Jew if you're not Jewish. Like, just stop. It needs to end. It sounds horrible. We take offense to it. Please stop. Secondly, there is a problem here and there is a pattern, especially within this state, but it's also a problem in politics, which is there were two other politicians in the state of Kentucky who said, when talking about prices, that the person who was doing it was trying to Jew them down. That was from Representative Thomas Walker and State Senator Thomas Gerlder. Doesn't matter.
Great name.
Phenomenal name.
Didn't we talk about him last block when we were talking about Lindsey Graham? He was girdling some testicles.
he might have been. He might have been. Anna just picked up on it. That's why you heard the loud mom gasp in her. Okay, so look, how I feel about this is very simple. Like, don't say Jew if you're not Jewish. Definitely say Jewish people. And these anti-Semitic tropes, which they absolutely are, stop tying it together with like, oh, you know what these a-hole Jews tried to do during the Holocaust? They might have gone to their death sentence, but boy, did they try to make a buck by abstaining and making a pill. Like, dude, come on. Like, this is ridiculously not even out of the ordinary. It is insane to say something like this. And again, as a Jewish person who has celebrated a bar mitzvah and gone to synagogue on the high holidays, and not of my choosing, but went to somewhat of a conservative synagogue where like I wish we had just like freaking drums and a guitar instead of like humming 24/7. But like, I just feel, and I said this to JR earlier today, Anna, there is a problem in Republican circles with anti-Semitism where you sort of dangle it out to show that you will fall on party lines, but there's no punishment at all. Like he's gonna apologize, and then everyone's just gonna move on to the next thing that someone's gonna say that offends like an immigrant or someone from a marginalized community. So the problem is he can put out an apology, nothing's gonna happen in the long run.
True.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that. I think that the broadly speaking left is better about holding one another accountable. When it comes to leftists, I think that the nitpicking is actually a little unbearable sometimes. However, I like that climate of accountability and just holding each other to higher standards on the left. With that said though, I just want to make a point about how while the right wing incessantly claims that the left engages in race baiting or identity politics, fact of the matter is, the only time the left talks about anything involving identity is when identity is actually involved. When there is evidence and data proving that there is a two-tier justice system that unfairly targets people of color. They'll accuse us of race baiting when we present that data and make that argument. But we're now watching a video of a right-wing lawmaker needlessly injecting identity with anti-Semitic tropes to make his anti-reproductive rights argument. They love using race, they love using religion, they love using identity to carry out their nonsensical arguments that really do infringe on our agency, on our freedoms, on our rights. That's who they are. And what he said there was so unbelievably disgusting and honestly harmful. Because like the thing that really stood out to me, guys, was look at the people behind him as he's talking.
Yes.
None of that, like if I were in that room, I'd be like, what is he saying? And all those people behind him are just like, yep,
Behind his left shoulder, he's nodding the whole time.
Yeah, there was a smirk or two, almost like even I always look for people behind when someone says or what the crowd looks like. There was a smirk or two, kind of like, this is a little off, but it definitely wasn't outrage. It was there goes Danny again. Just saying.
It really is shameful. It's so shameful.
Yeah, and by the way, go ahead.
No, I mean, these tropes lead to anti-Semitic attacks. It's not just some, look at this idiot who's saying idiotic things. There are real consequences to it.
Yeah, and by the way, you talk about identity, and I wonder, we gotta go to break after this, but I wonder though, how much is it manipulated stereotypes versus really what they believe? If Representative Bentley goes up there. He said it so smoothly, as if it's just matter of fact. You know, women, Jewish women only have sex with one person. That's why their rates of cervical cancer is so much lower than anywhere else in the country and the world. Just said it like as if he's researched this. And he says all these things, says the developer of it now is trying to make some more money off of killing Jewish folks again. I don't know if it's so much of them trying to denigrate Jewish folks or any other minority or anyone else that they're bigoted against, or if it's just really just their thoughts. They hate these people so much that they think this is who they are. All those stereotypes is just what it is. And he's like, what do you mean stereotypes? That's what they are. It's a thought.
But to be clear, he will absolutely say, well, I voted for Israel. I can't be anti-Semitic. That will be the absolute go-to at the end of the day with anybody who belongs to that party. That is their one line of defense, and with their constituents, which is literally all that matters, it works.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.